Gaur, look, I think I'd like to support fully the points we made on all sides of the House about the over 66 who are working. There is controversy over pensions and when they come in, but there's no controversy over the fact that people who were in business before the COVID-19 came to this country and were paying their taxes, and they can no longer work because they're sole traders, the business can't function, are not getting the payment, whereas somebody beside them, living on the same street, working in the same shopping centre, is getting it because they're under 66, and I believe there's age discrimination here, and I think it's wrong. And if somebody can prove that they were there, that they were paying and working before the virus hit us, I think they're entitled to the difference between, if they have a present pension, what that is, and the €350. The other point, Minister, and I welcome also your presence here, I welcome your determination and the gutsy way in which you've run your department and answered the questions fair and openly. I think it's working against the government here that they're not allowed adequate and proper time to reply to some of those points, particularly the ones that are made in a rude and aggressive manner. But having said that, there's a lot of people in on to me about services for women and children who, because of their situation in their household, are homeless, or there's domestic violence visited on them in an appalling way, and that they need immediate relocation. Safe Ireland have been in contact with me and with other deputies, and they believe they need emergency rent supplement access, that they will be provided with safe housing in an urgent way, and this assistance will be great to them, will give them independence of choice and give them options that are no longer there because of the fact that hotels and other areas of accommodation like B&Bs are not as available as they would be. There are serious problems for women and children that are not being addressed in that they cannot get this rent supplement. And supporters and community organisations are very anxious, Minister, that you will step into the breach and do what you can to help them, please. Thank you.
Great. So thanks, colleagues, and thank you again, all of you, for your comments with regard to the hard work of the staff, and I'll pass it all on. The PUP scheme, as I had said, was introduced at speed. It's due to finish its first round on the 9th of June, but just to categorically put on the record that of course it will absolutely be extended. It was introduced to support the income that was lost temporarily by people as we close down the economy. We obviously will have to support people until the economy reawakens, and that's going to happen in different phases. But the actual dimensions of it are being considered at the moment by my own department and by the Department of Finance, and as soon as the decisions have been made as to the guise it will continue in, we will make those announcements. But just to let you know that we will continue to support people as we have done. The wage subsidy scheme obviously is Pascal Donoghue's remit, and I will pass on the request that you've made with regard to the names as opposed to the number of people, and to see if that can be tweaked. Can I talk about Safe Ireland's request? And I think maybe some people have brought it up already, and maybe others will as well. I know you would like me to talk about it. There was a model that was originally established a number of weeks ago when this issue we knew was going to come to light, obviously, as we closed down the economy, and difficulties in certain families would have been accentuated. The model that was established probably isn't working 100%, and Safe Ireland have come to me a number of weeks ago, just over 2 weeks ago, as have the National Women's Council, and asked us to relook at it. To let you know what we had been doing in the absence of having a formal setting. Anybody that has come to us, we had immediately put them in emergency accommodation such as a B&B for 2 weeks, and then looking after rent supplement, as they're absolutely entitled to make an application for in their own right. And you may be aware that we have changed the criteria and really relaxed what was a 28-page application form down to 4 in the last couple of weeks, to try and recognise the difficult situations that people are in the last couple of weeks. In the last number of days, we have formulated a new response to this in cooperation with the Department of Justice, the Department of Children and my own department, and that was communicated with Safe Ireland and hopefully the National Women's Council this afternoon. There is no delay, there will be no delay. There can now be a number of referring bodies, not least of which is the woman or the man themselves, but also the Gardaí and TUSLA can be also responsible. So we're trying to cover all bases. I know there might be some difficulty with some parties would like another party to be the responsible person for referring. From our perspective, you're either entitled to rent supplement or you're not. We don't really mind who makes the referral. We just need to make sure that the referral gets turned around, first of all, compassionately and sensitively, but second of all, in absolutely the fastest manner as it can be. But just to reassure you that anybody comes to us, they will immediately be put into emergency accommodation and a bed and breakfast until that application form is turned around, and we will look after the family as holistically as we can. The last thing, can I just make reference to a number of people have brought up with regard to the people that they feel, and maybe rightly so, have been excluded. It certainly wasn't a choice, and some people have mentioned frontier workers, other people have mentioned over 66s, and another group, maybe much smaller than the over 66s, is our under 18s. We didn't choose to exclude anybody. I think you're well aware how fast the legislation and how probably simple the legislation was that was passed by this House, thankfully unanimously, to set up the PUP and the wage subsidy scheme. They're based on the 202 code. They're based on the legislation that currently stands either in this country or in the European Union that governs how we look after working age supports. And much and all, and I tell you, I probably have received far more than every other member in this House of people who've come directly to me into my own office with regard to how they feel about being excluded. And there isn't a single one who it hasn't broken my heart, because they are working. And actually, I've spent the last number of years of trying to encourage people over the age of 66 to work. But our legislative code that governs employment benefit in this country only allows payments to be made by people who are aged between the age of 18 and 66. And I don't mean to be smart. If we need to change that, then this is this House that needs to change it, and we can collectively do that. But we're governing and being governed by the legislation that is the law of the land. It isn't intentional that we ever wanted to exclude anybody, which is why I was adamant that the wage subsidy scheme was included absolutely everybody as we could, which did include our over 66s, and which is why we made supplementary welfare, which is governed by different legislation, available to any over 66s that was working, that had extra expenses that weren't covered by their current pension. And a number of people have made applications and have been successful. And very finally, Chair, sorry to be annoying you, one of the deputies raised earlier on that a person was only on a reduced contributory pension and now they had lost their income. That person is absolutely entitled to apply for a full non-con pension, and they absolutely will get it. So.